Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts.
Hello everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike Delisio.
Welcome back to the Winter Spectacular and our first ever live Foursquare review.
Wow.
All opinions here cannot be changed.
I'm out.
All right. First of all, we have a contest that we're running. You can win a copy of a gift certificate, $30 gift certificate from Game Nerds. This is for folks in the U.S. and you just, to enter this contest, we're going to have 5 winners, by the way. This contest is running all the way to the end of the year. So you can enter that the end of the year 2021 in case you're watching this in the year 2025.
That's fair.
Put the keyword Frosty in the subject, email contest@dicetower.com, and then there's put your favorite of the Foursquare reviews in the body. We're doing Golem, Stella, Mobile Markets, Foundations of Rome.
Do you like Frosty the Snowman as a Christmas song?
Yes, but I also like Frosties from Wendy's.
Oh.
That's right.
Good call.
Neither of which are in this game.
And that, come on, Chris, out with my segue here. Golem. So Golem is a game that is actually based on an old Jewish legend and lore of these stone golems that they used to defend themselves with, and they would stick a scroll in the mouth of the golem that would give it commands. It was one of the first versions of a robot, frankly. All of which is not in this game. I mean, we agreed it's not a... I mean, there's some theming in here, but not much.
It doesn't lean into the protecting of the city of Prague from persecution. It doesn't lean into a lot of that stuff.
Wait, Prague is in this game?
Yeah, Prague.
Do you have a problem with that?
All right, so...
I can see why you guys are a perfect match. That's fantastic.
All right, so anyhow, we're going to be talking about this game, but first, Chris is going to tell us how it works.
Here's the setup for a game of Golem. There's 3 players set up, but this is just one player area. You've got your board here kind of divided into the 3 main areas of the game in which you'll be scoring points. The blue area on the outside here relates to books, and you'll be scoring books times a multiplier, which is going to be these blue menorahs that you'll reveal over the course of the game. In the center of your board is the area where you'll construct the golems. These are the 4 golems that you can construct, and these are the upgrades for them. As you reveal these menorahs, you'll be multiplying them times the number of constructed golems. And then over here are your 4 artifacts. These are randomized and set out each game. Players can draft them and or just get dealt a random one. There are 4 artifacts that you can complete by filling them with bars of gold according to the number that they require. And when you do that, you'll multiply them by the number of yellow upgrades you've revealed, which are the yellow menorahs here. And that's going to be the main driver of points for the game, especially at the end game. You do a couple things here, like you get 4 starting tiles and you choose your starting resources, and little benefits like upgrades to your board or to advance your students over here. Now let's talk about the main board. The main board here is basically a system of tracks. The top of the red, yellow, and the blue tracks are where you'll be moving your students along, which are these meeples here. That will be earning you income during the income phase of each part of the game. And then on the bottom here are the golems. Your golems will work for you. You're constructing them to move them along the city here, and at some point lay them down to take working actions in order to get benefits that are going to be very, very helpful for you, and then standing them up and then moving them further down the city and working them again. But you want to keep your students roughly as close to in line with your golems as you can, lest you will destroy the city of Prague, represented in this game by losing victory points. The round is broken up into 7 phases. There are 4 rounds to the game, indicated by these cards here. You can flip them over at the end of each round to kind of keep track of it. So the first thing you'll do is the refresh phase. You don't do that at the beginning of the game because we have randomized the marbles here. We have everything set up and we're good to go. So the next phase, number 2, is going to be the golem movement phase. You'll look at where your disc is here on the golem control track. You'll see that this requires 2 golem movement. And then we look at the event card over here for the round, and it shows another 1 golem movement. So between your 2 starting golems and then any additional ones you build, you'll have to do that many steps of movement. So this one's going to move 2 steps, and then I'm going to go ahead and move this one 1 step. That resolves golem movement. All the players will have to do the same thing, and they can divide how they want to divide those out. The next phase is the action phase. During the action phase, you'll be taking 2 marbles and then doing a rabbi action, which is placing out your rabbi onto one of these action tiles here. You'll do 1 action per turn, and you can decide what order you want to do them in. So maybe first, you'll go ahead and draft one of these marbles here from a row and activate its corresponding action. The main actions here give you resources and then let you do an upgrade by spending that type of resource to flip over one of these types of tiles that's on your board here, which will give you ongoing benefits and reveal the menorahs for the endgame scoring. The other thing you get to do when you draft an action die is you'll also be able to get one of the things that will work towards endgame scoring. Blue is books that you'll tuck up to this part of your shelf. Yellow is paying for gold that will complete your artifacts. And then for red is constructing the golems so that you have more golems out on the board. And then each of these corresponding to their respective multipliers. So if I drafted this die over here, you resolve a few things. First, because I drafted a blue die, I'll get to move my student on the blue colored track. If I draft a red die, it will go up on red. Yellow, it will go up on yellow. Whites do not count for any movement for your students. The black die, however, allows you to move 2 of your students each 1 step. So then, because I drafted from here, I would get that many coins, so 4 coins, and then I could spend coins on these upgrades here, which will make my artifacts more powerful or unlock new ways to trigger these artifacts outside of just the income phase. Then lastly, I could pay coins in order to get a bar of gold and work on completing an artifact. Once it's all the way done, it's complete. So that would be 1 whole turn, and then the other 2 players would go, then it would come back to me. I could either draft another die, or I could do a rabbi action in which I would send my rabbi out to one of these action tiles. Say this one, that lets me move up the bookkeeping track over here, and I could activate a book if I had already grabbed one. So if I had done this action. Or you can move your golems and make them work, or you can get different points for different conditions. This one down here allows you to kill your golems, and then when you kill a golem, this is one way to keep control of them, is if they're too far ahead of you, or whenever you want, you can just kill them, send them down to the cemetery down here on the bottom of the board for some bonuses right away, like maybe some more gold, so I can get this artifact completed. That sounds pretty good. The other players, of course, can activate whatever they want. You can't double up on the same action tile. There's a couple of rules to that. Lastly, when you finish up whatever action it is that you're working on, let's say that I had grabbed a yellow marble and done this action that lets me copy other actions by paying a coin. Then I could copy this one up here, say for example, that lets me work the golems that I have out here. I have to pay a knowledge for the different golems I want to activate. I activate them by laying them down and then taking an action. So you see here I could purchase one of these books from the book display here at a 3 discount. So I could pay 2 knowledge, say, and grab this card over here. When you slot these cards into one of your 4 available shelves, you will get the immediate activation bonus, and then you'll trigger any bonuses starting with this tile if it's flipped over, and then working up. If you are able to tuck multiple cards into the same row, they have to be the same color or a wild black card, you can trigger the immediate effect, get the bottom effect from the tile if it's flipped over, and then every other benefit shown on this shown on the cards that are revealed here. You can only tuck cards, multiple cards in the same slot if you upgrade this track here, this book track. The next thing that you'll do, phase 4, is to redetermine the player order. You'll see that our rabbis here are in an order from top to bottom, so therefore this will be the new turn order. First purple, then blue, and then gray. So now I'm last. Great to be me. Next up, we'll look at step number 5. If the marbles that you drafted are the same color as the 2 marbles for the event card this round, you'll be eligible to get this bonus, either 3 coins or pay coins to get some benefit like upgrades and victory points. If I don't have matching marbles, then I did not get this. But let's say that I had drafted either matching marbles like this, or if I had earlier drafted a white marble. White marbles count as any color, and therefore this would be an eligible combination for this card. If you ever draft the black marble, you get the extra student movements, but this one will not match any of the colors on the cards here. Step number 6 is the income phase. If your students have reached places out here on the board where they'll start earning income, you count that. As you've moved along these tracks over here on your player board, you'll get income. And then, for each completed artifact, you'll also trigger more income over here, which is how you get more resources so you can be set up for the next round. You are also eligible to do one more upgrade. So after getting all of the income, I could then pay some of those resources that I got in order to do an upgrade. So I could pay coins to upgrade my artifacts to make them stronger or trigger more often. I could pay blue knowledge resource to upgrade my bookshelves so I get more bonuses when I tuck cards, or I could upgrade with red the clay resource my golems so that the golems have stronger or better actions. At the end of that phase comes the golem control phase. You're going to check to see where your golems are on the board in each of the 3 city districts and then compare them to where your students are. If your student is on that space or further ahead of it, you have to pay anything. You've already controlled that golem. But if your golem was further ahead of where your student was on that track, you'll have to pay 1 blue knowledge resource for each step that the student is not able to have caught up to him yet. And that's one of the benefits of killing a golem, say that maybe is really far ahead of where your students are. After you've done that, one whole phase, you'll gather up the marbles again. You will discard the front card here of this lineup. This obviously should have filled in already over the course of the explanation here. You'll take the marbles, you'll send them through the chute again, see how they randomize, and then you're set up for the next round. Everyone's rabbis are available. New rabbi action tiles will come out and replace these, and then that's the basic idea of the game.
We've never watched one of those before.
Simple as
That
that,
was fascinating.
right? Nothing to it.
Easy peasy. I definitely misspoke. Nothing. Calling marbles dice repeatedly.
They are dice.
All right, Wanda, you said you had
Differentially.
thoughts on the components.
Okay, well, I have thoughts. I have thoughts on this marble thing. Okay, I like the idea of the marbles. I think it's cool. I think they're like 5-sided dice. Essentially, it's a randomizer. But every single time that I'm the person who's supposed to put the dice in that thing, I feel like I can either push them a little towards the top. What did I say dice too?
Yeah, for sure.
You're running. Oh, whatever it is.
Marbles. Yes.
Marbles. So I feel like I either want to push the marbles towards the top more or push them towards the bottom more. There's no like Plinko system or randomizer system. They just kind of throw in, and I feel like I'm always tempted to cheat. I don't cheat, but I feel like I'm always
I
tempted
can't trust
to.
I
yourself
emptied
not
my
to
mind.
It's like a thing. Like it's like a mental process every time. I just wish that there was. I wish we had a marble track, like your really cool marble track.
Oh my word.
That'd be
I
fantastic.
think,
Do it.
Have a game of Golem at the end of the track. Just
honestly, I
Yeah.
think dice would have just been better. They've already done dice like this in their other games.
Yeah.
yes, frequently.
Yeah.
And there is a lot going on in the game, as people have noticed. And so I get the idea that it sorts itself immediately. You don't have to roll the dice and then, okay, where's the 2s? Where's
just
the
done.
3s? It's just kind of done. It's a gimmick. But I
It's a
enjoy
gimmick
it.
that's almost misleading, though, because people look at it, they're like, marbles. Like,
Right.
don't get caught up in this, okay?
Yeah.
Now, let me say this, though. About the components, for me, I usually can stomach symbology to some
Sure.
degree. This game pushes my limits on it more than almost any other game because that board is just like, whoa.
It's a lot.
And every special tile, I have to be like, okay, remember everyone, this one does this one does this.
Right.
What do these cards at the top do? What does this mean? What colors where? I gotta mix up the red and the green.
There is no
There is
green
no
track.
green.
Yeah, it looks
Except
like a
on
green
the
track.
board, it's clearly green.
Right.
So there's a, and it doesn't look like, I don't have to be like fully thematic, but the golems don't look like golems. And
No.
I mix the golem and the workers up occasionally.
Yeah.
Well, it's a typical Cranial Creations production, if
Yeah.
I may say. Although this one at least works.
It does. My guess thoughts on the art and components is that it's not really a looker. Okay, I wouldn't say it's actively ugly, but it's busy. It's very busy. It also, I think, suffers from modern Euro setup bloat, where there's a ton of pieces and chits, and to some extent, it almost reminds me, in a very odd way, of a much heavier Taverns of Tiefenthal, where you've got all of these things that are on your board. Everything can flip. Everything can, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I can flip this piece to upgrade, and I can get this to put over this, and I can replace this track with another whole track that I can put on my board. There's just a lot of pieces to account for. It's a mixed bag visually, I think. The whole red-green track thing is an issue. It's okay. okay.
I'd agree. One of my biggest issues with the production is I think they should have taken a cue. I've seen other games do this where there's a default setup printed on the
Yes.
board. Unfold the board. That top red track, yellow track, blue track already have
true.
action
Why did they
printed
do
on
that?
it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have 4 event cards
Right.
already printed on there. Then you can customize it.
Like Teotihuacan does.
I think
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would have helped us a lot for making it more approachable. The first game, you know, if you want to just set it up, open the board, and kind of go, you can. So
I'm going to super glue my favorite choices onto the board. That's what I'm
Done.
All right, as a side note, so Chris brought it up. I don't think anybody, unless you're a brilliant person, maybe it's you and you're a 7-year-old kid, I don't think anyone's going to get it until a good chunk through your first game. This game is not intuitive in a lot of the things that it does.
I agree.
And it's an engine building game that slowly, and you know, I always talk about, I don't think you should be able to do everything in the game.
Right.
But in your first game of Golem, you might think, can I do anything? Especially if you're playing someone experienced, like this guy built his whole Golem and went up 3 tracks, and I went up part of 1 track.
Right.
It can feel like that, so I think that needs to be said. These guys do that in a lot of their games, but I think it's exasperated in this one more than most, where it takes a while to get things moving. You're going to feel a lack of resources in everything. Or is that just me?
You know what? I feel like I went into this game feeling that way the very first round.
Well, that's what I was saying.
But then at the end of the first round, I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to do anything next round. I won't have anything. But then the incomes in this are really, really good. And so I ended up ending my first round with more stuff than I thought I was going to have. So I got to do more the next round than I thought I was going to be able to do. So I feel
Okay.
like it picked up quicker than I expected.
Yeah, I feel like I understand what you're saying, and I agree, especially as far as the strategy being kind of obtuse. Like, you know, this is not a game where you can look at it and go, oh, got it. Yeah, I know exactly what I need to do my first turn. No.
Well, as a side note, the golems.
Yes.
Do you kill your golem?
I do.
I don't know. Should
Yes.
you? Should you not? How far do you run it? That's not intuitive.
Absolutely.
How
It's
that
not.
system works.
That's true. Because they are a resource and they can trigger and give you a lot of stuff. And you're right, it's a little counterintuitive to remove that from the board for good for the whole game. It's gone now. You can get more, but that golem is.
But you might pay if you don't.
You might pay if you don't. I will say I don't think that it feels quite as punishing as some of the other games that these designers have been involved with. For example, Lorenzo Il Magnifico. That's a game that to me feels like I can never do what I want to do. I'm always one resource short. I didn't necessarily feel that here, although you're right. If this is a game, or if you're a type of gamer that wants to be able to do everything, then this is not for you, because you've got to specialize to an extent.
I love the specialization. The thing that I appreciate about this, and we were talking about this, is that you can pivot at some point in the game.
Yes.
Right? Like, I have a setup. I've got the artifact board on my right side that I need to build up the gold stuff to get. Gives me these types of incomes. I'm going to go for books. At the end of the game, I got no books. I accidentally shifted into building more golems and getting artifacts. And I thought, hey, cool. Like, I'm glad that I could pivot at some point and it wasn't so constrained.
And one thing that I like about the tightness of the game is I enjoy games where I look at it and I say, I don't know how to make the first couple moves. I'm just going to pull levers. I'm just going to kind of feel it out and see where it goes. And so I appreciate that you can pivot, because partway through the first couple turns, I kind of understand it. Now I can really play. It's not like I set myself up poorly the first couple rounds and I'm just gone for the rest of the game. Like, I still have a real game to play and I still am invested.
Sure, I'm just saying that if you're new to this, I mean, and
Sure,
that's probably a
yeah.
good thing, but you're
Yeah.
you're not going to probably lose to someone who's played before. You're going to get massacred
You'll
by
get-
them
you'll get
because
wrecked.
the interaction is not tremendously high, but the interaction where you take that marble I want makes me want to, flip the table sometimes.
Or the rabbi action. I mean, that I think is the main point of interactivity in the game. I think
Yes.
maybe the only point of interactivity in the game.
You took my marble, or I needed that.
But that's not
Sure.
unique to Golem. I mean, there are many, quote-unquote multiplayer solitaire Euro games. I don't know if I would call this exactly that, although it skews more to that angle than to a highly interactive Euro.
For sure, yeah.
But that's where most of the angst comes in, is like you have a particular marble that you're kind of eyeing. And that's why it is nice that the white marble is kind of like that wild type of a thing. It makes it a little bit less punishing than some of the other games that these designers have been involved in.
Yeah, there's some flexibility.
There is a little bit,
Yeah.
So one of the things about this game that I particularly think makes it stand out, right? Two things. One
This is good. I'm glad you're going here because I want to know what makes this stand out from other Euro games.
So two things. One is you draft marbles. Other games have done, right, dice drafting, whatever.
Right.
But that one rabbi action is like a little hint of worker placement.
Okay.
I think that it adds that angst of when do I put my rabbi out and take this tile because I'm sure someone else wants to, but
Right.
boy, I would rather get this blue marble, activate this action, get the bonuses, yada, 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 before I do that.
Right.
You have to kind of balance out when to do which of those things. And the other thing is that I think this game integrates multiple tracks together. Your students move up the track to keep control of your golems move up to get better actions, and the way that you get the movement on those is interrelated, but they're through different actions. I like tracks. I like when these Italian designers
Oh, you like tracks.
throw tracks into all of their games. More tracks. Tracks on tracks.
All right, calm down and don't listen to Chris. I mean, I love tracks too, but
But this is tracks on
there's a
tracks. They're
limit. It
integrated
is.
together, and I like that part of it. It takes what could have been really all over the place and kind of conjoins them in a game that's already all over the place. But that part I find intuitive. Keep your students up with your golems, or kill your golems.
you're rebuttaled.
It feels like tracks. I
And that's why
appreciate
this side of the table.
I appreciate your passionate defense, and I would respectfully disagree that it feels innovative.
You don't think the golem thing is innovative? I mean, whether you have to keep it in your control. That I never seen that in a game before.
Maybe not, but I just don't feel like.
I'll join you guys.
Well, that's fine. It's fine. You know, I don't feel like innovation is the strong suit of this game, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, right? I mean,
Right.
sometimes I think innovation is overly prized. It's better to have a game that's well designed, and this is a well designed game, but I don't think innovation is its strong suit. I'll just leave it at that.
I don't know that these guys. I mean, if you had not told me whose game this was, I would have known.
Yes,
For sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it feels very. It has some familiarity to it. I'll put it that way.
Alrighty. Well, Mike, I guess we'll start with you then.
Okay.
I'm feeling a strong 10 here.
No, and it's not going to be. I'll just come right out. I'm coming in at a 7. I feel like it is a well-designed Euro game, a very well-designed Euro game. I enjoyed playing it. I would play it again, although I'm not going to necessarily go out of my way to request to play it again. It's not a game that I would want to teach, to be quite honest with you. I think that it's a bit convoluted. I feel like it's a bit of a bear to set up and a bear to teach. I don't feel like it does anything that really makes it stand out from other well-designed Euro games.
This is a very, very lackluster 7, but keep going.
No, it's a well-designed Euro game, but I don't know. There's a lot of well-designed Euro games out
Yes.
there. That's the issue, is that why am I going to choose this over other well-designed Euro games? I don't know. If you really are attracted to the theme, then that might be a thing. And it was, I will say this, it was a novel theme, and I appreciate that. But what's going to make me choose this over something else? Over Coimbra, over A Feast for Odin, over other well-designed Euro games? There we go.
I'll just say it's funny because when we have conversation, like after we played this a few times, you're like, "Oh yeah, this is really fun." You're making it sound negative, but
It's not.
you
It's a
genuinely
7.
had fun.
It's-
Yeah.
I enjoyed
don't
it.
want people to jump down, Mike, and be like, "Wow, he really crapped on that 7."
No.
Yeah.
It's a well-designed Euro game. It's just that's a very large pool.
All right, well, I got your back, Mike.
Okay.
Also a 7.
Okay.
And very similar thoughts to Mike on some things, except I don't have a problem with this. This feels like the next step in their things. Although
Yeah.
I would give a 9 to. Why can't I never remember the name of the other game?
Lorenzo?
Lorenzo Magnifico. Mike's wrong on that one. That
I
one's
prefer-
way easier to do
I
than
prefer
this
this
one.
to Lorenzo.
My two concerns with this that keep me from giving it a higher rating are the engine building is super fun in round 4. I wish it had started earlier.
Yeah.
I also accept the fact that I'm probably dumb and should be doing it in round 2. I felt like I was slogging a little bit. I also normally teach games. And if you asked me to teach Golem, I'd be like, are you sure Chris isn't around? So there's that.
Yeah.
That being said, I did enjoy it. I think I like the way everything works together. I just found on Etsy little stickers to put on the Golem, so I'm going to spruce up the way it looks a little. The marble thing.
I'm giving it a 9. No.
And the special abilities, I like that. I like tracks. I really do.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm all about tracks. I'm not as, maybe as tied to, grids are better than tracks, but tracks make me happy. I wish I could have gotten farther in my tracks, but I stopped in my tracks. Okay, I'm going to stop.
Tracks in your tears?
The yees are affecting me. All right. But it's a solid, good game, and I like these designers a lot, and so I would gladly play it again.
That's awesome.
Not a 7.
So not a 7. I gave it an 8 because I really enjoyed it. I enjoy these designers. They just really fit my, not my comfort zone, but like my happy zone. Like I really enjoy the crunchy. I really enjoy the tracks. I love games that I can play time and time again and pick different things that I'm going to do because I can't do everything in this. And the theme was new. I kind of had never heard of it before, and so that was interesting to me. But overall, like you said, like super solid, great Euro game, and I give it an 8 because I really enjoyed it.
All right, I'm going to say this.
Here we go.
Always the highest rating.
I'm definitely giving this 9. I'm giving this game a 9. I love this game mechanically.
Towards this side here.
Right, yeah. Here's the problem, though. I love this game so much. I feel like it does have some bloat to it, and I thought after my first game, like, geez, I really wish they kind of cut some of the stuff out. The more that I play it, I'm really loving just the interactivity of everything. I would give this game a 10, but the production is bad. There's too much symbology. There's too many moments where the symbology means kind of different things, even though it has the same symbol. You upgrade this part of your Golem, it says, hey, every time you do the work action, you work an extra Golem on the board. Except what that actually means is only when you draft the top marble from the tray to do the work action, not when you get work bonus action. But there's both the same hammer symbol. The setup is obnoxious.
I played the game and I'm still confused by what you just said.
That's the problem, right? I had to look up so many exceptions and clarifications on online forums to make sure that I defy anybody to play this game 100% correctly the first game based on the rule book.
And that's a problem.
That's a problem. This game would be a 10. I have so much fun with it. This game is going to have legs for me. We're keeping it, and we're going to pull it out often and play it because I like it that way. I'm keeping it, Tom.
Oh, man.
Wow, is that how it works? Because I've got a lot of games I'm going to claim right now.
Look, keep, steal, it all means the same thing. But no, this
same
is
iconography anyway.
Same iconography.
There you go.
But yeah, no, that's why it's a 9 for me. It's dragged down a little bit because of those issues.
All right, well that's Golem. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And I'm Mike DeLisio.
On to more.